Oh,
Okay.
I do, big time, dude. And
It's a huge show, Ed.
you look at the resume of the different shows, the Rifleman, Gunsmoke, all these different shows.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a guy's guy, the cowboy of cowboys. We have James Drury. Hey, James.
Good morning. Good
welcome
afternoon.
welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're excited to have a real cowboy on the show.
Well, I'm excited to be on your show, and I'm always glad to talk to my friends in Chicago. I've got a lot of friends up there. I've appeared up there in the theater several times, and really enjoyed it.
Well, we've had you on our Facebook and our website that we're having you on, and I couldn't believe all the responses we were getting to it. How many people really enjoyed the work you've done, especially the Virginian.
Well, I appreciate that, and there's been an awful lot of interest in the show in the last couple of years because Encore had a 2-year run of it, and then now Inspiration has got it, and they're going to run it for 3 years. So we're very fortunate to have it still on the air. As you may know, we celebrated our 50th anniversary this year, 1962 to 2012.
Wow!
And it's remarkable to have a show that's still viable 50 years later.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, my daughter, who's 21, just turned 21. She loves all the old westerns, all the old cowboy movies. She's watched your show. She's watched The Rifleman with me all the time, and she's 21. She still loves all those shows, even though they're almost 50 years old.
Well, that's wonderful, and I have grandfathers, and I'm a grandfather. Call me and say, Jim, my grandsons are watching your show without being asked or without being told. They just sit down and watch it, and they like it, so they watch it again. And that's a great tribute to the show and the cast and the writers and the entire production.
Well, so on a funny note, I have to tell you. Some of the messages we got were for women.
Say what?
Some of the messages we got on Facebook and email were from women.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, well.
Oh, my God. We should be hanging with you.
That's understandable. And we have a fan club called the Virginian Posse, and there's about 600 members, I think, and they're mostly women, and they're mostly very, very. They're the people that watched the show when they were little girls, and now they're grown ladies, and they're still watching the show. So, and they're enjoying it the second time around and the third time around.
Well, some of the messages that I've gotten, he's so handsome. I love his smile. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, girls. This is Facebook. You're posting all this? Ross and I need to hang with you.
Definitely.
Or maybe not. We don't need any more problems.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and it's wonderful to have people calling up and saying that 50 years later. That's just great.
Well,
we're certainly delighted to hear from them.
Well, I have a woman on here. Her name is Sharon Kloppenstein from Kentucky.
Oh, I know Sharon.
Well, she put on here the Kentucky chapter of the Virginian Posse. Will be meeting for brunch on December 8th at the Garden Girls in Lexington. And you mentioned eating there on your way to Kentucky once. And they now use it for their posse. And she just said they love your devotion and everything about you.
I'm so glad they're going to that little restaurant. It's a little restaurant in a nursery. It's a little garden center, and they have a wonderful little restaurant in there that my wife and I ran across completely by accident, and I've been recommending it to everybody in Kentucky ever since. So they get up there and they get some great food. So I recommend it to anybody who's going through Louisville.
Well, she certainly loves it. Now you have your posse there.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That's terrific. You guys are in Joliet. Where is that? North of Chicago?
It's actually southwest. It's actually southwest of Chicago.
Okay, I'm trying to orient myself to it. I haven't been in Chicago for some time, and you got to get a feel for the geography,
Well, I got to tell you what. If you make it out here to Joliet, you come on, co-host a show with us. We'll take you to Babe's Hot Dogs afterwards.
Okay. Well, I never met a hot dog I didn't like.
Oh, you'll like Babe's. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, well, that sounds great. We go to a place in Toledo called Rudy's Hot Dogs. Are you familiar with that?
No, I've been to Tony Paco's. Have you been to Paco's in Toledo?
Oh, maybe that's it. Tony Paco's. That's the one. Yeah, exactly. I have some friends there that take me down there, and we do a horse show there in Swanton, Ohio, or have been for the last 3 years now, and I hope to talk to you guys when we're ready to do that again.
I hope so. Yeah, just let us know.
Hey, James, this is Tony. How you doing today?
Just fine, just fine.
Hey, listen, I'm a Western geek, too, myself. On DirecTV is channel 538, and I watch it all the time. And what's really great is I don't have to look at the commercials like we used to have to back when I was a kid.
Well, Inspiration doesn't have commercials, does it?
No, but the question I have to ask you is I loved your cast. The guy I especially liked was Doug McClure.
Say it again. He didn't hear you.
Okay, the guy that I especially liked was Doug McClure. Can you tell me something about Doug and the rest of the cast?
Oh, well, he was the mainstay of the whole cast. He was a wonderful, wonderful actor and a human being. And as we got, I had not known him. I'd seen him around, but I didn't really know him. And we started out the show, and we were thrown together. We finally had a meeting on the Friday night before the Monday morning we started to shoot, when they informed us that we were going to be playing the two parts. And we had our first meeting that night, and decided that we were going to have to do this show. And of course, it was impossible to shoot. It was an impossible show to do logistically. You could not get 90 minutes into each week, but we did it anyway. And the wonderful thing about it was that Doug could always pick up any show that I couldn't be in, he could be in and carry very handily, and vice versa. So we were the only two cast members that went all the way through the 9 years, and he was we got to be friends, and then he got to be my best friend, and I miss him every day. I'm so sorry he's not with us to enjoy all this renewed interest in the show, because he would love it.
Yeah, the fans out there kind of miss him too. What I liked about him
they'd tear his shirt off, you know.
He could be a serious actor, but at the same time, he could be a little comic too.
I'm
sorry.
He
had a little comedy. He had a little bit of a bit of comedy to your show too that I really.
Oh,
liked.
Not a little bit. He was very, very funny, and he was the kind of guy. If he walked into a room, everybody'd start laughing. You know, he had a wonderful quality about him, and people just couldn't help smiling when they saw Doug. And he was a wonderful gentleman. I can't say enough about him, and it's just as clear as yesterday. All the different things we did together. It was great.
You two really made the show. Now, did you get a chance to go out on set? Like out into the outdoors and shoot much?
We shot all over Southern California. Sure.
Cool.
That was not done with mirrors. Anytime you see us outdoors in the Virginian, that's when we were outdoors. We shot our interiors, of course, on sound stages, but everything was shot out in the countryside and out in areas like Thousand Oaks, which is now Westlake Village. If you're familiar with L.A., that's where they have some $1 million homes now. But in those days, it was just cattle country, and we chased cattle and horses all over that country on a daily basis. So we inaugurated that part of Southern California. That was big cattle country anyway, and a lot of cattle around there. And we were able to get involved with those ranches and use their cattle and made it work. So.
And one more question. You mentioned horse. My wife owns a horse, and we horseback ride every now and then. What was it like out there riding the horse, and did you get to be a good rider after all those shows?
Well, I had been on horseback since I was in diapers, and Doug had been on horseback since he was just a kid, and he'd worked on a working cattle ranch in Nevada when he was in high school in the summertime. And one little story I tell you about that if we have time.
Sure, go ahead.
He was on a cattle ranch out in somewhere way out in the boondocks in Nevada, and there was was a highway patrol car started coming. These cowboys could see it coming a long way off, miles away, a big rooster tail of dust. And it was a black and white, and they knew what it was. And about 3/4 of the cowboys jumped on their horses and ran over the hill because they were probably all wanted for something. And Doug was sitting there at the campfire when these two highway patrolmen came up, and this one guy says, "Are you Doug McClure?" And he said, "Yes, sir, I am." He said, "Well, why don't you call your mother?" So she sent the highway patrol out of him. He was from Santa Monica, so she sent the highway patrol out to get a phone call from him.
Yeah, that's pretty
anyway,
funny.
That's just the kind of thing that happened to him.
Well, I was looking, just looking at your resume, I didn't realize how many, you were in a lot of really fun shows. I mean, The Rifleman, Gunsmoke, and just to think the Virginian was 249 episodes. And you said you would do multiple shootings at once where you'd ride your horse from one set to another?
That's correct. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes I'd ride my horse, sometimes I'd walk over. It would depend where it was. We had as many as 5 units working at one time because we made those shows in 8 days, but we used them up every 5 days. Oh. So to make our air dates, we had to have multiple units shooting. And sometimes Doug would be playing the leading role, and I would be in just a couple small scenes, or vice versa.
James, what did they feed you there?
And also Gary Clark would carry shows, and we'd come over and do a small bit in that, and then go back to do the main day's work in our own show. We just had to switch back and forth and keep it all straight in our head.
I could just see you riding the horse from set to set. But what did they feed you on this set? They feed you anything good?
What's that?
They give you good food while you were there?
Oh, by all means, absolutely. Tremendous catering operation, and they'd have tremendous lunches. And if we shot at night, they'd serve us a great dinner, and they always had all kinds of food on the set. They had what we call a craft service cart, and they had everything all the time, 24 hours a day. So you never had to go hungry on a set.
When did he sleep?
Oh, very seldom. You had to learn your lines and read the next week's script and work on that and have a little dinner and try to get some rest. If you get to bed at midnight and then get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and go down and do it all over again.
Just curious, what's your favorite episode?
Oh, I don't really have a favorite. There's a couple that I'm very fond of. There was one called Felicity Spring with Catherine Crawford that was very, very popular and got a great reaction. And there was a show that I really liked called Mountain of the Sun with Dolores Hart that I'm very fond of, and it was a wonderful show. And there's just a whole bunch of those shows were good. Obviously, a lot of them were good, or people wouldn't still be watching them.
Oh, certainly.
No, and the resume here is huge, the different shows. I mean, we had a gentleman on from The Rifleman, who the boy that played Merc.
What's that?
Oh, Johnny. Yeah, we had Johnny Crawford on from The Rifleman.
Oh, yeah.
We love all those old shows, but I'm cracking up. I'm seeing here you were on Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yes, I did most of those episodic things, and Walker, Texas Ranger, I was in the first 3 shows was all, but I enjoyed that, and I made everything was available that I could get a job in those days, and there was a lot of work in those days, so an actor could go from show to show and build your experience and build your knowledge of the art of acting. So I was able to be prepared for the Virginian when it came along.
Did you do your own stunts?
Well, pretty much. Anything that we could get close enough to see my face, I was always most interested in doing that. And we'd have stunt people there and choreograph everything and set it up, and then I'd usually step in and do the actual action, and except for really dangerous things, then we were always doubled.
Yeah,
and
I don't know
we
if
had some very competent people. Dick Shane and Gary Combs took care of those duties on the show for everybody.